Okay, go. On the models with the push button start, you push the button in, then your main power is, first of all you check if your main power is coming in there. That comes straight from your plug. Comes out of there, you will have number 1 and 0 there. These go to your switch. You can see if the power is carrying on through there. To open the switch to check the back here, when you've switched it on, you can see whether the power is coming back out there. From here, the power goes down to, on this model there's no thermal overload, which we'll show on the other model. From the switch, it's basically only going through this pressure switch here, which does have a button on the top. If it trips, it pops out. It needs to be reset over there. You can check whether the power comes to this terminal block here after it's been through there, to see if the power is going through there and back on here. Once it's gone through there, you are feeding through the coil on the top here, A1 and A2, and then you're going back to your feed. That is your whole control voltage. If there is no break in that circuit and you press start here, this contactor will engage. If the contactor engages and still nothing happens, you need to see if the power is actually coming out of the contactor, because this is the power in, power out of the contactor and to the top of the compressor. So if you take the lid off here and you measure L1 and L2 on the top of the compressor here, you should be getting 220 volt across these two. If you've got 220 volt, nothing's happening here, then possibly the compressor is down to earth or burnt out. The capacitor is also part of the start. The capacitor you can't really fault find where there's power coming in or out. The capacitor, basically you take these terminals off. If you have a multimeter that has got a capacitor test, you take the terminals off, you hold the capacitor test on there, and the multimeter should be showing you 60 microfarad after about half a minute. If it doesn't, then very possibly the capacitor is faulty. The symptoms of a capacitor being faulty is it will try and start, but it will just hum, and it may trip your incoming breaker or this breaker. We have covered the dryer with the manual switch. This is the dryer versions with the PLC. There's not much difference on these. The only difference is you'll have, when the power's on, you may not have any power there. The power to this PLC is these two wires here. If you have no power on these two wires, then one of these circuits here on the control voltage is open and you will have no power on your PLC. So you will see you've got power once again over here on the main breaker. Then you just check exactly the same way that circuit. The only difference is this one has got this thermal switch, which is an extra protection that was fitted, and on the back of this switch you have a cap. Take the cap off, check whether that button isn't maybe popped out. Then you can do the same, check that there's current coming here and current going out again, and then further on it goes the same way as was previously explained. Okay, we've covered the electrical circuit. Now we're going to cover the refrigeration circuit. This gauge now, for instance, is right down at 0. That means there's no gas in the unit. The refrigeration should be at least up here somewhere when it is switched off and it's cold. If there's no gas there, then there's a problem, there is a leak. Once you've established that and you've managed to start the compressor, your compressor is running, you can then now start checking. Maybe the customer complaining that he's got wet air. You see, is this pipe getting hot? Once you see this pipe's getting hot, it then goes through this cooler here. When it comes out of the cooler, feel if the pipe is still hot. Then at that stage your fan motor should be running. If your fan motor isn't running, then possibly you have a faulty pressure switch or a faulty fan motor. And then you also got to be sure that the radiator is nicely clean. And then last of all, if everything is working on the gas side, that's cycling beautifully, it's going on and off, then you do need to see whether the dryer is getting rid of its condensate, and the condensate drain is on this side. If the condensate drain isn't working, then you will have wet air in the line as well.